as we're all waiting, so you're not waiting. What we just do next Oh, is she back now?
Even an hour in.
Yeah. I'll see that. Okay. I'll see you later.
Yeah. Okay. How lost it is. Where will all the politicians and royal things go in the amount? In the first roll?
Guys, apparently there's been a slight delay, so we're going to have to push it back a little bit. I'm not quite sure how far back at this point in time, because it hasn't let people yet. It's about 5 or 10 weeks away.
Anybody with some nostrils can help me.
Yeah, what do you need?
Get that off.
I can't guarantee I've got lozenges, but
Go on. You may have to do it.
Okay, let's do it line in.
I've got some tape, Christina, if you need it.
We'll do. Just rip it now.
Yeah.
Yo.
we've got a couple of minutes, folks. Sorry, we've got a couple of minutes. Thanks for the late adjustments that you've made. I know I can hear a lot of sort of sweaty people. And, not looking at anyone in particular, sorry. It is awfully near. So the Chief Constable will be coming in shortly and doing a statement. There'll be no questions afterwards. But once he walks away and finishes his statement, if the cameras can go off, any questions that are unknown at the minute, I will take down, and then we will try and answer them later if we can. Obviously, we've got a dynamic, fast-moving situation. We've got the police here at GMP, but also counter-terrorism HQ working on this as well, and we just have to make sure we're aligned so there's nothing confused going out to the public at this point.
Can you give us...
What does that mean?
So what we'll do is we'll take them back and make sure that the relevant people can give us the answers, and then we will look to try and provide an updated statement later today, if we can. All right? I'm sure you can appreciate there's some sensitivity, some difficulties at this point, but obviously it's important that the chief is heard.
And it's just the chief and nobody else?
Just the chief at this time, yeah.
Mate, can you give us 2 minutes after
2
that?
minutes?
Because we've got a live straight off the bat.
Okay, so
So we
the
ain't
chief will
gonna-
move.
Then we need to see the couple of there's a couple of minutes just to do our live and then we'll put the cameras down. Thank you.
Fine. You're alright.
Okay, don't worry.
Do you want to test it?
No, it should be. I just thought about making it a bit taller, but it should be alright.
If you want it to be a bit taller, you can just do that one.
Perfect. That's great stuff.
Oh, this room smells. This room smells really good. Really good. Yeah, he's just going to give us a couple of minutes to do it off the back, and then we'll.
Sorry.
Is everyone good? Any issues? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be introducing to you now the Chief Constable of GMP, Sir Stephen Watson. Thank you.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, my thoughts and those of my officers and staff are with the families of the loved ones who have been affected by today's horrific incident on what is the Jewish community's holiest day, Yom Kippur. This attack has been officially declared as a terrorist incident, and the investigation is now being led by counter-terrorist police. As has been confirmed by CT policing, we believe that the identity of the offender has been established, but until we are certain of this fact, it is premature to set out this detail at this juncture. In addition, I can confirm that 2 other individuals have been arrested in connection with this incident, and urgent inquiries are ongoing. We can confirm that 2 members of our Jewish community have sadly died as a result of this attack. Following a rapid response, armed officers from Greater Manchester Police intercepted the offender, and he was fatally shot by officers within 7 minutes of the original call. 4 further people remain in hospital, having suffered a variety of serious injuries, and their treatment is ongoing, and our thoughts are with them and their families. Inquiries are moving at pace, and very visible and proactive policing activity is ongoing across Greater Manchester and beyond. Updates will be provided as soon as is practicable. Our priority is to keep the public safe. At this time, we know that a car was driven directly at members of the public outside the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue on Middleton Road, Crumpsall, in Manchester. The driver of the car was seen then to attack people with a knife. He was wearing about his body a vest which had the appearance of an explosive device. There were a large number of worshippers attending the synagogue at the time of this attack, but thanks to the immediate bravery of security staff and the worshippers inside, as well as the fast response of the police, the attacker was prevented from gaining access. All those inside were safely contained until police were able to confirm that it was safe to leave the premises. Yom Kippur is a day where we see our Jewish community attending their places of worship, places where they and their families should feel entirely safe from harm. I want to share my gratitude to all of those members of the public who called the police as soon as they saw what was happening. This allowed the quick response from our officers, who were able to act swiftly and bravely to bring this horrendous attack to an end. I also want to thank our partners from the other emergency services, local authorities, and the health service, who have provided their ongoing support to us throughout the day and will continue so to do over the coming days. I know that today's horrific events will have a significant impact on all of our communities, not only in Greater Manchester, but across our country. There will be lots of questions that people would like answers to, and quickly. But please understand that some of this will take time. What I can say is that the highly visible response to these dreadful incidents will be sustained as we work to understand the full circumstances of what has happened. I know that you will all join me in keeping those directly affected by what has happened in our thoughts and prayers. There are grieving families and communities at the heart of this, in Greater Manchester and beyond. I would therefore ask that people refrain from sharing disturbing and insensitive content online. If you have information, then share it with the police. We stand with all of those affected and will continue to do everything in our power to keep our communities safe. I thank you.
Well, in the last few moments, we've just heard from the Chief Constable of Greater Manchester Police, Stephen Watson, and there were some key points in that statement. First, that they believe they know the identity of the offender, but said that they